Hi everybody, welcome back to the JC League House. I'm Janie. It has been an incredibly crazy couple of weeks. There's been so much going on. I don't even know where to start. Well, actually I do know where to start. I'll start right here. If you notice, I am wearing our brand new League-Kempner house t-shirt. We just got those in last night. Um, I designed it. I got on the web and did clip art and cut and pasted and glued things together the old-fashioned way, and then sent it to Heather's stencil maker, Josh, and he was kind enough to clean it up and put it into the digital files that we need to be able to reproduce this and use it on things like shirts and stencils and other things. So I sent it off and had some t-shirts made, and I'm trying it out today. It's supposed to be a dry weave. It's supposed to be, oh, I don't know, 101 feels like temperature. Today it was 114 feels like temperature in Houston. Yesterday a little cooler down here, but if you haven't been watching the weather, Texas is covered by what they call a heat dome. I think we've had 14 heat-related deaths. It's been just sweltering down here. Joe and I have been giving tours and we have sweated so much, and I commented the other day, I said, you know, it's funny, when I get here I'm got sweat running down my legs and in my eyes and it's miserable, but in about an hour my body gets adjusted to it and I'm comfortable and I don't sweat anymore. And she just looked at me and said, you're an idiot, you're dehydrated, I'm not drinking enough water. So anyway, I have my giant igloo of water and I'm going to do better, but it's been hot. But crazy enough, people have been coming to the tours. We had a group of 12 women come from Houston yesterday specifically to tour the house. So it's been wonderful. But today, while the tours are going on, our volunteer Oscar is going to be here. And that's, I think I told you in the last video, he does construction. And if you notice behind me, we had a bunch of lumber delivered last week when he was here. He took all the measurements and calculated what he needed. Today, he's going to start building the walls in the basement. So that's pretty exciting. I got here early today. It's hard for me to leave the front in case someone walks up for a tour. So I came ahead of time so I can get inside, and I brought some chalk. I'm going to mark on the floors exactly where the walls go. He and I worked on the layout last week and made a few tweaks, but since it'll be hard for us to be in the same room and communicate, I want to get that down on the floor so there's no misunderstanding. The tours don't start till 10. It's only about 8:15, so I've got a while to get that done. So I'm going to head inside and start doing that. I was replaying the video to make sure I got the sound, and I heard a scraping noise, and I just wanted to show you what's causing that. It's actually grinding going on. A long time ago, we did a walkabout in this house behind us, and it's been sold, and whoever bought it has been doing a lot of work on it. It's looking great. They've been sanding and priming the house, and now they're working on the plaster work. I'm so happy to see somebody give that house some love. It's just an incredible house. Whew. Okay, before we get started, I'm already sweating like a pig, so I'm sitting outside so I can go over this with you. Today we're doing those walls, and we have to anchor the 2x4 to the concrete. There's a couple of ways you can do that. One way is we have like a little gun that has a 22 bullet in it, basically, that shoots a nail through the board and into the concrete. I didn't bring that today. I don't like to use it. My husband's not fond of it either. It can be effective, but you run the risk of shattering the concrete. So today what we're doing is we're going to drill. And this is a special concrete drill. And I brought the big rotary hammer. It's just like a drill on steroids, but it has the impact. So it'll go, you'll hear it. It's very noisy. You can also put a chipping bit on it. You see Ricardo used it when they were taking up the tile, but it's very powerful. It's corded, so it's got a lot more power than battery operated. And we're going to use that to take this drill and drill through our 2x4 and through the concrete. And The drill bit has got this little tape on it to mark the depth. We have a 4-inch pour on our slab, and then we have the 2x4, which is really about 1 5/8. It's not 2 inches anymore. Used to be, but they're not anymore. And we don't want to drill and punch through the slab. So we've got this as a depth marker so we can drill to the top of the board and stop ourselves from going too far. So it's just a visual indicator of where we need to drill. Once we've got the drill, then or the hole drilled, we'll remove the board and probably vacuum it out. These channels on the drill should bring up debris. You see when you drill, you get a little pile of shavings on the top. Sometimes it gets everything out, sometimes it doesn't. If there's trash in the bottom, this won't seat well. So we'll drill everything, remove the board, shop back it, put the board back, and then hammer these into the hole. And they fit super tight because we want this to grip. What happens is when you screw the nut on, this will be locked in and it will actually not, how to describe it, this won't go any deeper. It'll try to pull up, and when it pulls up, it'll deform the bottom and spread it out and grip the concrete even tighter. So we're not screwing it in, we're pounding it in as far as it's going to go, and then we're screwing and pulling this bottom part out, deforming it and grabbing the concrete. We do that by just putting a washer and a nut on it. We'll probably put that on there before we hammer it in because sometimes you can damage the top and then you can't get your nut on and then you can't pull this out. So we need to remember to put the washer and the nut on and then hit it after the nut's already on there and started. But anyway, that will hold everything tight. So that's what we're going to do. It'll make a lot of noise. It'll take a while. Sometimes this is not a perfect method. Either you'll hit some aggregate, basically a rock in there that it can't go through. So you'll get almost completely drilled and have to stop and scoot over and try again, sometimes multiple times. We need to be careful where we put the anchors. We need to lay out where those uprights are going to go because we need to be able to shoot a nail in and not hit the anchor. So take a little bit of thought, but it's not overly complicated. It's just laying it out and then drilling and getting it anchored in. So that is what's on tap for today. I just found my lucky penny for the day. But the thing is, I'm not sure that I have any luck because I also just realized that I left the hose running for 15 hours last night. And that is not nearly enough water. I'm hoping it's soaked in the ground, but I'm about to go in the basement and see what I've done. Wish me luck. I came around the back to check on Oscar and found this going on. CenterPoint was here to connect our temporary service, and I'm glad I happened to be here on the day they came because they never would have been able to get back here and do this without bringing their bucket truck back. So fortunately, I had the gate down. So they've had to get all the way to the back of the garage just to reach over and service this pole. They weren't real happy with the condition of the pole. I never have been either. It's got all kinds of old wire hanging down, all the vines. I was never sure what was hot or not. So they've clipped it all back. Now they're putting the new service on.
It's hanging number 4, I'll be making it up. Hang that number 4 over there, I'll be hanging it off. Look at this stuff.
I think I've mentioned before, I worked for CenterPoint Energy for years and years and years, and these guys are amazing. When your lights are out, have some patience. They work hard and put their lives at risk all the time. They're up there working hot. They do everything with insulated gloves. They're touching those high voltage wires. And they do it 24 hours a day. Meanwhile, back in the basement, Oscar's hot at work. We are steamy down here, but this is happening. By the end of the day, we'll have a closet. Since I had to man the ticket sales out front, I didn't get to spend a lot of time down in the basement filming what Oscar was doing. I did notice that when I went back to check on him, he built the wall a little bit differently than I might have done it. On an existing structure like this, my inclination would have been to lay down these bottom plates, put the anchors in, get them in place, and build the wall upright from there. He did it more like new construction. He took very, very precise measurements, built the entire framed wall on the ground, and then stood it up in place and bolted it to the ground after it was fully constructed. Both methods work. It's really just a matter of personal preference, and he is very competent and very precise. My husband would definitely approve of his work. He took a lot of care to get things squared up, and it was a little difficult down here because not everything is square, and so I know it caused a little bit of stress because one wall had to be actually a little bit wonky. He embedded that in the back of the closet so it won't be noticed. But with old houses like this, you kind of have to work with what you get, and you can't always lay everything out exactly perpendicular. But it looks great. As I said, he did a fantastic job, and I'm so grateful that he's volunteered his expertise to help this house. With the wall built, it was time to put the anchor in, just like I showed you before. If you listen, you can hear the tone change when he's hammering that bolt in. It changes when that bolt bottoms out in the hole that's been drilled. It can't go any further. Before I forget, I've got a fabulous walkabout for you at the end of this video. It would have been nice to have had a ratchet to tighten this with, but of course the socket set is down at the Lucas Apartments and not here. So we made do, or I should say Oscar made do, with just an adjustable wrench that I had. It's a little slower, but it worked. It's been a slow tour day, but as I showed you, CenterPoint was here working, Oscar's here working, and this is going on. That's J.R. Shaw, who does Galveston Unscripted. He also has a great photography Facebook page. He's all about the Galveston history and tours, and he's working on one about the house. And he's just here to get some footage. Are you getting what you need?
Oh yeah, I'm getting exactly what I need. All the shots of the side of the house, above the house.
So where do people find you? Galveston Unscripted.
You can search Galveston Unscripted on any podcast platform, anywhere on any social media platform. Just look up Galveston Unscripted. You're gonna find me.
And
We
are
try to
there
be
links there
everywhere.
to like your photography Facebook
Yes,
page
yes,
and
there's
your
a
other
link.
things, so they can find you? If they go there, they can find you everywhere.
Yep, they can find everything
He's-
everywhere. It's all linked
He's
together.
everywhere, everywhere you want to be in Galveston.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
check them out.
Thank you.
It's really looking like a closet now. It's pretty good size. It's about 5 feet square. So you'll go in here and have room for a rack across that way, a double rack across the back. And then this nook in the fireplace, we're going to do shelves. So we'll have to cap off that old pipe. A huge thank you to Oscar. I don't know where we'd be in getting this house restored if it weren't for so many great volunteers that have stepped up and offered to help in this process. Oh, it's not a penny, it's a dime. Today is your lucky week because it was my lucky week. Earlier, I showed you that penny I found, and I wasn't sure if I was lucky or not because I'd left that hose on. Well, it turns out the basement didn't flood, so that was good luck number one. Then I found a quarter, and then I found a dime. And on the day I found the dime, Joe and I had been selling tickets for house tours. She was manning the front. I was running around doing a lot of miscellaneous things. And a big group came through. It was a family on vacation in Galveston. And she visited with them. I didn't really talk to them very much, but as they were leaving the house, the daughter stopped by and she said, "Oh, my dad just loved the house. He's watched all your videos. He's a contractor." Well, I didn't think much about it, but I thanked him for touring and we chatted for just a second. Well, the next day, Joe and I were there again and we were putting flyers up and down the street about our fashion show. So she took Broadway and I said, "When you finish that, I'll go to the block behind us on Sealy and put some flyers in the mailboxes there." So I went off to do that, and I had only gone 1 block away from the house. I was at the corner of Sealy and 18th, and I heard this pounding on a window. And I looked up in the window, and here was the daughter from the tour the day before. And she's waving me up to the house, and it is the most incredible house. It is the Sonnentheil house. And I know I say this all the time, but it is truly like my favorite house in Galveston. It's just incredible. It's thought to be a Nicholas Clayton house. It's just got this incredible facade on it. The woodwork and the trim is over the top gorgeous, and I couldn't believe she was inviting me into the house. It's now an Airbnb, and just as a disclosure, they had signs up that commercial photography was welcome. They want to advertise that they're an Airbnb. Obviously, they want guests to come. I'll put the link to their Airbnb listing in the description because there are a lot more photographs there. But anyway, I went in and got to take a tour of the house. Okay, I was walking the neighborhood putting up flyers, and I ran into some of our tourists who toured yesterday. And Mark is a commercial and preservation architect. He loved the house, but look where they're staying. She saw me through the window and banged and let me come in. This is just an amazing house. What's the name of it? Does it have a name?
Sonnentheil House.
Sonnentheil House. I'll show it to you from the outside.
So cool.
The light fixtures are crazy.
I love these.
Each one is almost better than the next. Okay, the master suite. Okay, and that's really cool because this is a modern floor, but they've used some old tiles to inset.
Yeah, I took everything.
And look at the sink.
Down to the.
And I absolutely want that bunk bed. That is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. How cute is that? Which one? Is this you have a favorite? About. Look. ceiling. Look at the ceiling. Look at that little settee. That is just adorable. Not quite walk-through windows, but look at the latches. Oh, look at the light fixtures. Oh my word. Okay. Joe was too embarrassed to go put these out and knock on doors, and she's gonna regret it. Oh, she's going to regret it. Oh my gosh. This is just stunning. I love how modern it looks. And those colors, my gosh, that aqua. I can't wait for our stained glass windows to come back. It just really will change the house. I have to ask, how much is it a night to stay here?
My wife can tell you, we got,
I got it on sale at Christmas.
5 nights or 6 nights.
Yeah, it was half price at Christmas. And that's when we booked it.
How many does sleep's a lot?
16.
Sorry about the audio on this, but I was just speechless. I don't know why I was whispering. Every part of this house was just fabulous, from the inlaid floors to all the little details in the trim, the different shapes. It was just incredible, and I was just awed. One of the few things I didn't care for in the house was the kitchen floor. It just looked a little bit too modern, and I was especially surprised given that they had done such a beautiful job of blending the modern and the old in the bathroom floors upstairs. But the kitchen was fabulous. It's very functional. It has all this space, and they even had an old antique stove. It wasn't working, but it was installed even with the stovepipe going up into the wall so that you could see what the kitchen would have looked like originally. So it's just an incredibly well done house, and it would be a great house for a large family to come spend time here in Galveston. I wish I could start over and film a little more coherently and walk this thing from the front all the way through so you could get a better sense of the house. But I think you can tell just from looking that everything is just spectacular. This floor was amazing. The woodwork in the whole house was incredible, which you would expect given the incredible woodwork and trim on the exterior of the house. These inlaid floors were just gorgeous. The light fixtures were fabulous. Just every little thing, like I showed you, even the locking mechanism on that window upstairs was ornate. The hinges on the doors. This house was blinged out to the max. Oh my dear. Decoration only. Okay, this is Mark, and he has a Facebook page and has more followers than we do. So we're going to learn from the master. But you do historic restoration, right?
Yes, I'm located in Lindale, Texas, and pretty much cover the Northeast Texas area.
So what kind of jobs do you do? Just anything and everything, or big jobs?
About
jobs?
90% of my work is working with old buildings. Some of my recent projects is a Carnegie Library. I'm doing a British Museum. Building was built in the 1870s. That's in Terrell. I'm doing a historic museum in Mahia. It'll be the Limestone County
And I know where
Museum.
Mahia is in
Yes.
Limestone County. I used to work for the utility that has the lignite mine up
Right,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I do a wide variety of things. Design everything from museums, libraries, sometimes schoolwork.
So what do you put on your Facebook page? What kind of stuff do you have?
I try to post a wide variety of things. You might see me one day on a job site examining materials and explaining what they are, where they came from. The next day it might be designing a doghouse. So you just never know.
You never know.
You just never know.
Okay, well, I'm going to go check it out. And thank you for noticing me through the window and inviting me in. Yeah, it's so funny. It's a small world. As we're taking the tour, I visit more with Mark, who was the contractor. Well, it turns out he's not just a contractor. He's a professional architect who specializes in historic preservation. And he starts showing me little things he's noticed around the house. You can tell he's very interested in old houses, and that's his business. So we're looking at a lot of the details of the house and the paint colors and the condition. And I start talking to him more and more and more about what he does. And he's very modest. He just mentions that he has a Facebook page and that he likes to focus on old buildings. Well, when I got home, I looked him up. Well, he is more than just a contractor that likes old buildings. He is a volunteer steward in the Texas Historical Commission Archaeological Stewardship Program. He does a lot of education. He does a lot of volunteering, mapping out archaeological sites in Texas. He is an adjunct professor at the University of Texas in Tyler in historical preservation. He is all things historic preservation. You've got to go to his website. I'll put a link in the description below, and his Facebook page, and see some of the projects he's worked on. But he's a great resource. He was so wonderful, and I was thrilled to meet him. And I did have to ask him the question because I always get a little bit nervous. I'm very confident, or I was very confident with the house when it was my money and my decision on what I was doing. But now that we are a nonprofit and we are working with other people's money and trying to do an authentic restoration, it does make me a little bit, not anxious, that's not the right word, but I want to be careful. I want to be a good steward to the house. I want to be a good steward to the people who are donating money for the construction of the house. So I just had to ask him, based on everything he'd seen and the videos he's watched, did he have any constructive suggestions for me on how to proceed going forward? And I was thrilled with his answer. He said, no, just keep doing what you're doing. And if we need any help or need any resources, feel free to give him a call. So he's going to be an incredible asset. In fact, he already gave me a name of a gentleman in Galveston that I've looked up and I need to call. He's a historic paint specialist who can come in and maybe look at that weird silver paint we have in the parlor and tell us what that is. So I'm so happy to have met them. They were just a wonderful family, and I was thrilled to get to go into this house.
What is?
No, okay. I thought that was a hinge, but
What
it's
is
not.
that?
I don't know. Cameras were red, but I've also seen a lot of that color trim on houses. Look at that deep forest green, a light blue. I'm looking at this video and realizing I don't even begin to do this house justice. It's just hard to describe how much is crammed into this space. There are so many architectural details, and I tried to get some shots on the side of the house just to show that ornate woodwork trim that's everywhere, and it's different. Everything is just unique and inconsistent. I don't know how to describe it to you, but my camera did not do it justice. I swear you could come in here and take 2,000 pictures and not capture all of the detail on the outside of this house. It's just eye candy. I could sit and study it all day long. I may have to come back and try to take some better pictures. That is it for this week. It seems like the rest of the United States, and a lot of the world for that matter, is suffering from the same extreme heat that we are here in Texas. So I hope everybody is staying safe and cool. It has certainly slowed down the work here, but we have not stopped. So be sure and subscribe and turn on notifications, because we'll be back next week with another video as we work to restore and preserve this incredible house here in Galveston, Texas. And do go check out Mark's Facebook page and website. He's worked on a lot of interesting projects, some amazing courthouses and much smaller buildings around the state. I feel very fortunate to have met him and his family, and I'm really looking forward to his guidance in the future.